Hello, it's Em again, and today there's crochet tube and floss tube. If you've watched my last video, I was talking about possibly dividing all my crafts into 3 different parts: floss tube, crochet tube, and craft tube. But I realized that I probably won't be able to do as much of all those 3 categories to put into separate films. So I decided to put crochet tube and floss tube together. So today, a bit of crochet and a bit of floss tube, a bit of my things that I cross stitch. So first, the blanket, the last dance on the beach blanket that I finished the squares during the summer like I had planned, so yay. And now I'm joining them into making a big blanket. There are 48 squares if I remember correctly, and I haven't joined all of them. As you can see, it's going to look like this. And I have joined, because you start from this end, I've joined until here. So I've got a bit more than a half. It's taking so slow because first I need to put my squares that are like this and block them. And that's where I block them. And well, the only way I can manage to do them is that I had to draw like the square of the size that is needed. And I just, after 3, I lost patience and decided 3 will do. So I have to wet those squares and put them in those spaces and wait until they get dry. That's why it takes, well, I usually do it in the evening. So I wet them, spread them, and next evening I change. And so I join like 3 blankets at a time. The first 2 rows, they were a bit more complicated because I needed like 4 to join together. So, well, this one was pretty easy because those ones are bigger than actually they should be. So I didn't really have to block them. They will bulk up probably. And I have a sort of saving plan, but a bit later about that. So the first 2 rows, they went slowly because I could do basically 1 or 2 rows at a time. Now it's 3 or sometimes 4 if the squares are actually bigger or exactly the same size as they should be without really blocking them, having to block them. And so far I'm joining them vertically. So like this. They are still not joined over here because that will be done after all the squares are joined together in this vertical way. I'm not super happy about the joining because sometimes you can sort of see the opposite color. Like this blue is also here a little bit, and like here the greens as well, you can see it here. Yes, it's flat, so there is no bulking up or like thicker stitch here, so that's true, but it's just, I don't know, I'm not convinced really about that. It looks a bit messy. It might be that I'm doing something wrong, but I've looked at the instructions, I've watched the video. I don't know what I could improve on, like really. If anyone has any suggestions, please, very welcome. But it works, and I guess that's the biggest thing here, that it works, and all the squares are getting joined. I think I have already all types of squares somewhere in the blankets, and of course there are 4 of each size. One note or disclaimer, if you prefer, those two types, they are not exactly as the pattern of the blanket suggested, because this one was supposed to be waves and they were a bit fiddly. I just didn't know where to stitch, so I decided to scrap it and go for solid granny square. And this one, it was like a faux knit stitch that it looked kind of nice. It just, again, it went wobbly at the sides. It just didn't really look nice, so I decided to go for something easier. And these one actually are the smallest squares out of the bunch, so maybe not the best choice of mine. I also did this. Oh, this is, well, it's supposed to be orange, and it is orange in real life, but through the camera I see it's red. I don't know what you see, but I see red color when it should be orange, and is orange in real life, with a black exclamation mark. This was a badge that we used during the teachers' strike in my country in April. And because I did a lot of the squares of this blanket during this strike, I thought it could be a nice, like, souvenir, like something to remember that, yes, this blanket is connected to an important event in, well, my life as well, but also I think in my country. I mean, the strike went on for about 3 weeks. A lot of schools just didn't work at all, so I think it was quite an important event. And at first I thought I would put it in onto this square, this kind of square, because it's like there isn't much happening here. There isn't too much of a design, or, you know, just shapes, like for example here there are waves, so I wouldn't like to hide them, or those seagull footprints, I also wouldn't like to hide them. So I thought this would be the best type of square. But now I'm thinking that because these squares are bigger than the rest, and they will probably bulk up when I just join everything together, it would probably be a good idea to hide it with this, and just stitch this, maybe actually have 4 of them as well, and try to hide it like this. I mean, I will make a decision once the blanket is complete and it's fully done, but well, that's the idea, to just sort of memorize the strike and the blanket that I was doing during that time. So yeah, I mean, of course I'll have to join the rest of the squares and then do the horizontal joining, and then there's a border around, and I'm not really sure if I'll be able to finish it before the new call starts, because today I got a message from the shop where I ordered the yarn that they've dispatched my order, and the courier company, they also sent me an email that they have dispatched my order, so I'm expecting it in a few days. The crochet along starts on the 9th of October, so yeah, it's what, 2 weeks time, 3 maybe. So I'm not exactly sure if this blanket will be fully finished before the call starts. I hope, and even if there's not, I hope that during some of those weeks of the call, I will be able to just, you know, quickly do what I'm supposed to do during the call, and then finish up the blanket. So yeah, we'll see about that a bit later. Now my cross stitch, yes, the floss tube finally. So I've done a lot more of this. Virgo. Oh, I don't think I've ever shown you what it's supposed to look like in the end. I've printed it out, and it will look like this. And finally I'm doing something else than just the blues. Even though blue is my favorite color and I love the blues, it's nice to just change a little bit. So I've got some black, I think this is this outline of the face, of the head, some brown terracotta-ish colors as well. I'm almost done with the first page because here, this small triangle, I'm sure you can see the blue, this is the pencil line here. This is the last part of the first page that I haven't yet stitched. And then it will be the end of my first page. And then I have page number 6 partly done. And of course page number 2, quite a lot of it done. Number 3, and even parts of page 4. And yeah, crazy me. When I was making some decisions about which colors to start and where to start sort of stitching some of the colors that I needed to finish the first page, it took me quite a long time to make a decision if I want to start here and like continue with page 6. So just focus on page 6 next. Or to go here and start from this side so that I do page number 2. I really couldn't decide if I wanted to like continue this way first and then come here, or do it the other way. Start like this and then go a bit down and so on. And I just decided I'm too much of an obsessive person, like freak about statistics and so on. And if there's a page 1 and there's a page 2, let's do it like in the order. So page 1 first, then page 2, and then all the other pages. So I will be doing it like this. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of page 2 done as well already, just to continue the colors. I'm doing mostly like this cross-country stitching, just because I really can't be bothered with rethreading the needle every now and again. Although my needles are much better than a few weeks ago when I really had trouble threading the needle, I'm still not a big fan of threading and rethreading. That's why parking method, it's not really for me, I think. I might do it in the future, maybe with some other projects, but for now at least it's not so much for me. I prefer this cross-country and just finish with the color that I have. And when I like get somewhere here in the end and I cut the thread because there's nothing close by, I will just most likely move to even another page but continue the color just so I don't need to rethread the needle. So that's how it goes so far. The face, the head starts appearing, not too much of it yet. There is still some blue to finish here. Here in that page, I guess it's going to be orangey, yellowy stuff, because it's sort of this part here. So I guess maybe more orange than yellow yet. But then later on, some more colors than just blue. And the other thing that I did, the other cross stitch, was my pillowcase. Actually, when I showed you last time what I did, I forgot about it. But I did a bit more now, so I can like really show you this one too. What I did. So I'm going to back stitches already. So I'm basically on the outside of the thing, because this is the first of the back stitches, the first row of back stitches, which is here. So I'm really close by. I think the only like normal stitches are here, like those droplets sort of color around. Oh no, one more thing, this part, this here, so this thing, the orange one. The problem here is I've lost the thread twice. First, it fell behind my bed, my sofa, and I decided, yeah, I'll take it back from there when I get to the color. Then I decided, nah, let's move on with other colors. And later I decided, okay, let's go and take it out. And I took it out and I put it somewhere and I don't remember what it is. So, yeah, that's still missing. But to be honest, I'm not really bothered too much with it because it kind of looks okay even without it. I mean, it's not as super detailed as here, but it's still, for me, it doesn't look like it's lacking something. So I mean, if I find it before I have to start sewing this part to the backside of the pillowcase, then obviously I will thread it, I mean stitch it. But if I don't think it would really bother me too much. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not super like, yes, it absolutely has to be done. I mean, if I find it, great. If I don't, whoops, it will get used in some other project, because I know that this color is needed, I think, even in this project. Probably this is the mouth, because there's quite a lot of those stitches in that color. So if I don't find it in time to make this, then I'll just use it for this or some other of my stitching projects. I also stitched the winter craft pod. I also did the stitching, but I guess I'll show it with the craft tube. So with the other project from that craft pod, with diamond painting, if I ever get to do it, and bullet journal, because I am doing stuff. And maybe when the order comes with my yarn, there should also be wax for the threads for my Kumihimo bracelet. So I might be able to just show you something more in 2 weeks' time, and it'll give me 1 more month to finish maybe the pillowcase, hopefully the blanket, and advance on the Virgo, because I will surely not finish it in time. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully see you in about 2 weeks' time when I post how I'm doing with other crafts than cross stitch and crochet. So bye!